Now, Teddy Fisher is a name that you're unlikely to have heard of before, but all that's about to change as a UK-based bait firm are about to launch a range of products that's worthy of a much closer inspection. It's mid-December, it's been freezing cold, the water's crystal clear, and I'm going to have to use a ground bait that's dark so it doesn't spook the fish. And I've had a look through the range, and the one I'm going to choose today is this dark Bream. Now, I've opened the packet, and it's got a sort of a warm, cinnamony, sort of almost Christmas cake, unless that's in my mind, smell to it. But let's get some mixed, and let's see what it can do. So it's been about 10 minutes now since I've mixed this. I mixed it in my normal way, which is little and often water. Mix some water in, give it a good stir, leave it a little while, put some more in, and then I tend to over wet ground bait, because the idea being that if you over wet it, the particles absorb all the water and you get a true sense of feel for the ground bait and what's in it. This was my choice. I like the colour and it looked quite fine, but I was actually surprised to find the amount of feed that there is in here. And whilst that's fantastic in warmer water conditions, it won't really do for today. I'll riddle some of the dry ground bait off and show you actually what's in this ground bait. Right, so there it is. It's taken me about 10 minutes to get it this consistency. On its own, without riddling it, this is a very sticky ground bait. Should you want to put a load of casters or pellets into a swim for bream, mixed as it is, it would be absolutely perfect. But on the day, I need this much finer this, so I've riddled out nearly all of the particles. What I found in here, there's a lot of chipped maize. There's also a lot of red and green particles, and there's something called leaden bread that they use in bird feeds. Anyway, I'm fishing out there in about 5 or 6 foot of water, so it needs to be soft to go down in the cage for it to explode out. So I've dried it off a little bit with some dry ground bait, and I'm really intrigued just to fish it on its own without any pellets, casters. I'm adding nothing to it, just to see what fish it attracts. So I've had 5 casts, and this is the first bite that I've had. I know, I haven't seen it, but I know it's not a skimmer. And it's certainly not a bream, it'll be a carp. I've put nothing else in with the ground bait, I promise you, not even a maggot. And I've got 2 maggots on the hook. And yeah, I can see it now, it's common. I don't know, I don't know if I'm disappointed or not. I would have preferred if it would have been a bream or a skimmer, there's lots in here. But it does prove that the fish have moved just to the ground bait, because there's nothing else out there. So, second bite of the day, and yippee, it's the fish I was after, which is a skimmer, nice skimmer, it's about £1. And there we are, that's the fish, you know, we're targeting with the dark bream ground bait. It's a decent skimmer, about £1, very welcome on this sort of day, but it proves that the Teddy Fisher ground bait does pretty much as it says it should on the front of the packet. Teddy Fisher do something called Concentrix, and there's a bream one. Now, I'm not sure what it is, it looks like a really fine powder, and I haven't opened it, and I certainly haven't added some to ground bait. But I'm wondering if I add some of that to the ground bait, will that get me a bigger fish? Will it knock them on the head? I'm sort of intrigued to know now, because it's so fewer bites. It's a sort of day where a little bit of bait change may well have an effect. So I'm going to get some out, and I'll tell you what I think of it, and we'll go from there. But like I said, I thought I'd add some of this Concentrix bream to the ground bait to see if it changed what we were catching. So I've opened the bag, and well, I really didn't expect that. I thought this would be an intense sweetener, similar to like a Scopex, something like that. What it is probably more of the same with the ground bait. It's almost like a cinnamon chocolate orange, very sweet, but again, a warm, spicy aroma. Anyway, I'm not sure how much I should use, so I'm going to add a little bit as we go along and see if it actually changes or does anything to the catch rate. So we've put the sweetener in. That hasn't been out there very long at all. In fact, that's been the quickest bite we've had. And, wow. There's another skimmer, which is good. Yeah, I'd say that's slightly bigger than the last one. Yeah, definitely a little bit bigger. Not a giant, but it's definitely 4 or 5 ounces bigger than the last one. Which you've got to think, you know, there's a positive reaction to putting a little bit more aroma into the ground bait. Anyway, we'll carry on, see what else happens. Literally 2 minutes in, again with the Concentrix in the ground bait, and yeah, another skimmer. So we've yet to catch a big bream, but I have to say that it's certainly speeded up the catch rate, adding the Concentrix, which is quite interesting. They're starting to get sort of peas in a pod, but you know, on a December day, anything's welcome. So this is going to be definitely the last fish of the day. Not sure what it is. I've got a feeling. Oh, excellent! That's another skimmer. So that's really good. So it's been a really interesting day. I've fished with a ground bait that I've never actually fished with before. Certainly one that's never whiffed of Christmas cake and cinnamon. Fishing a ground bait just on its own, without any feed. We had a carp early. And then obviously we put some of the Concentrix flavour in, which is basically the same as the ground bait, just a souped up version. That really did get the skimmers at it, and they're still going now, which is interesting. For me, this is an old school ground bait. By that what I mean is there's no fish meals in it, there's certainly no pellets in there. These are pretty much natural ingredients and probably quite a natural flavouring. And although they might be old school, it certainly isn't old fashioned, and the fish didn't find it like that either because they reacted to it. Easy to mix, plenty of particles, sticky when you need it, quite light if you mix it dry. Pretty good all-round bream ground bait. Now Teddy Fisher range is quite extensive, and we hope to get a look at it when it warms up a bit. It's just a little bit cold at the moment. Anyway, we're losing light, so that's the end of my day.